think we're recording right now, Lisa. I think we're actually recording for the first video episode of the Bearded Monkey podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, I absolutely would not miss it. So, for any of the listeners, again, guys, this has been a work in progress. The last couple of years, we've had numerous episodes that we've thrown on Spotify and Apple, and I've gotten some interesting feedback, mostly positive, which is great. Always get the negative every now and then. But guys, legitimately, this is a podcast dedicated to people being able to tell their stories in their words. And it's literally Colorado's own personal excellence podcast. I'm based right outside of Denver, Colorado, a little bit to the southeast of Denver. But it's interesting to find some of the guests that I find. And on this particular occasion, I came across Lisa. I was surfing the internet and I was on Instagram on the app. And I came across Lisa's Instagram profile and it stood out for me for a lot of things. Absolutely loved what she was about. She is exactly what the listeners of this Bearded Monkey podcast are all about. And when I reached out to her, she didn't hesitate. She got back to me, sent me a direct message back. I kind of discussed a couple things pertaining to, hey, are you perhaps open to being on the podcast? I think we would love you. Lisa's response, I'm down, dude. So here we are. This has been a work in progress now for maybe a week or two, I guess.
Yeah, not long at all.
Not long at all. But you're here, and thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Okay. So where we go, full-length episodes, I tend to have guests, right? So when I have a guest, the episodes are 60 to 90 minutes-ish, 60 minutes typically, but we cover a few different topics. And ultimately, I have a series of 5 questions that I ask everybody, and then we just kind of flow within those questions. So not a big deal. You guys are going to find out very quickly why the hell I like Lisa so much. So initially, Lisa, on your profile, I was able to gain or glean some information that you are a police officer based out of the state of Pennsylvania. Is this correct?
Correct.
Correct.
For about 6
All right.
years now.
6 years now.
For almost, yeah.
What is your, I word this like origin story. Like, what is your origin story? Where did you grow up? Like, where were you born? Where were you raised? A little bit of background on Lisa.
So I was actually born in Chester, Pennsylvania, which is like right near Philadelphia.
Okay.
I was raised right outside of Philadelphia, but then I moved around. I moved to Florida. I moved to Texas.
Okay.
Back to Florida, and then I ended up in Northeast Pennsylvania.
Damn. Okay. So would that make you a Steeler fan or an Eagles fan? Or is it just like neither one? You're like, whatever.
You're gonna hate me for this. I'm actually a Patriots fan.
Dude, it's okay. I'm not judging. Tom Brady's a stud. Definitely can't judge. I'm sure you were a little bit sad.
More, I know.
Yeah. Well, when he left New England, how butthurt were you? I mean, how bad was that for you, for your mental health, for your emotions? How hard?
I was upset, but then I kind of like transitioned, like partially like a Buccaneers fan.
Okay. A little bit of fair weather. That's okay. I'm not hating.
Yeah, a little bit.
And the Bucks.
And I'm like,
It's just not the same.
I know.
Definitely not the same. Okay, so for you, you grew up in all these different spots. Where were you at in Florida?
I was in a little town called Port Orange, which is like right near Daytona Beach.
Okay, so you're all about the beach, kicking it in the sand and everything.
I love it.
Do you surf at all?
I did for a little bit. I surfed. My dad surfs. His wife surfs. Her daughters are pro surfers. So, I kind of did a little bit of that when I was living there.
Yep.
I'm not
super
good,
cool.
But
well, because, and again, so look, I hate to admit this. I was actually born in Southern California and lived down in Los Angeles County for like 10 years and then ended up moving up to Montana. Before I left California, I was no surfer. I'll just be completely honest with you, but I do know this. I know that the West Coast, and maybe I'm hearing bad information, but West Coast is better for surfing than like East Coast Florida, yeah?
West Coast has bigger waves, absolutely.
Bigger waves. Okay.
Yeah.
So y'all in like Florida, you're like boogie boarding and doing all that jazz?
We still have pretty good waves. Like if you go towards the inlet, the waves are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
But with the inlet, you have like the sharks, and it's just, you go in the ocean, these are risks you take.
Oh, hell yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
so
definitely feel you there.
they're not bad. I mean, if you catch like a good tide or a good morning, like the waves are there. But
Yeah.
California definitely has bigger waves.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you've been out in the Keys or anything like that, Florida Keys. My pops and I actually went to the Florida Keys, and that was a couple years ago. Total blast, man. I mean, the water was like bathtub temperature. It was amazing. Just kind of waited out there. And my dad had always wanted to go. It was just one of his things. So he and I actually hopped a plane, stayed out there for like 4 or 5 days together. And I fell in love with Florida, though. I'm not a hater at all. So I love that place.
All the time that I lived there, I never made it to the Keys.
Never did.
Never.
So Port Orange, would that be like not northern Florida? That would be further south or no?
It's kind of like it's up north, but it's like right near Daytona. So
okay.
Yeah.
Word. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So continuing on this a little bit. So obviously, like I said, gave your background a little bit. You are a police officer in the great state of PA, Pennsylvania. And as far as for your day-to-day stuff, that's your day job, but you also do a little bit of fitness. And that was something that stood out to me. So as far as your law enforcement career, you indicated that started about 6 years ago, a little bit less than 6 years ago. What was your pursuit of the profession like? I mean, ultimately, was it something ever since you were a little girl, you're like 5 years old, running around Florida, were you like, I'm going to be a police officer? Like what sparked your interest?
So I always thought police officers were cool growing up when I lived in
You thought right.
Pennsylvania. And when I moved to Florida, I wasn't technically a little girl. I was older, but I got in some trouble, and
Okay.
I got some traffic tickets, and I'm like these cops, whatever. And I still always wanted to be a cop, but I was getting hammered because they'll get you down there, especially since it's like all touristy area. So it's like they're a little bit more higher traffic volume. So I moved to Texas, and I was like, I'm gonna be a cop in Texas. Like, this is it. Well, kind of got in a relationship and didn't work out. I was overweight. I wasn't in the physical shape, and then I got pregnant and evidently moved back to Pennsylvania after all these years. And I started getting in shape, and my dad was like, hey, like, this is your time. Like, if you still want to be a police officer, you have to do it now. Because I'm not young. I'm 38 years old. So, I was 30 when he was like, you have to get in shape. Like, you have to start doing this. Like, if you want to, you got to do it now. And I'm like, you're right. You're right.
Hell yeah.
So,
but you also had life experience under your belt, which helps out huge.
Oh, a lot of life experience. So,
hell yeah.
So it was a good time. I mean, it was a struggle. Like, I went through like my tough girl phase, like nobody can tell me what to do, and then I went through my party girl phase, and then I kind of had to grow up in order for me to really take the role. I wasn't ready until my 30s.
Totally understand that. And then your little one right now, do you have your little one like are you guys split custody, anything like that? Or do you have your little one around or not so much?
I have him full sole physical custody.
Good on you, dude.
And we have been in Pennsylvania for almost his entire life. We moved here when he was 2 months old.
Hell yeah.
So we've been in Pennsylvania for about 8 years.
Okay. Is he a Steeler fan?
He's not. He's a Cowboys fan.
He's, it's America's team. All right, dude. At least he's in a
You know,
sports.
he's got this thing where he's like, I was born in Texas. I am a cowboy. I'm like, you do whatever you want to do. I give him the choices. I'm like, you can like whoever you want to like. That's
Hell yeah.
totally up to you. I'm like, you want to like the Cowboys? That's on you.
I love it. I love it. Well, hell yeah. So, okay. So you have full custody of him. And then when you first started law enforcement, was he born yet at that point in time or not so much?
He was born. He was. So
Okay.
after I had him, I was overweight. I had to get in some kind of shape to, in order to
Right.
pass the physical fitness test. I mean, there was no way
Yep.
I could have done it unless I, lost the weight, got in shape, and, the endurance and everything was there. So I definitely had to work.
So was that your true motivator at that point in time? Like in order to get into the profession, you're like, I got to get this shit straight. I got to start working out, got to start exercising, whatever. Or was that the sole motivator? Or was there anything else there?
Well, that was definitely the sole motivator. I was like,
Good
I
deal.
need to. I mean, I was depressed too, like, hanging on to that weight and just feeling uncomfortable and, not happy. And then obviously, like, with unhealthy habits comes depression, and it's not a good feeling. So it was definitely like a bunch of things mixed into one, but I knew that I wanted my career and I knew what I had to do. So it was the push.
Good for you. No, hell yeah. So you end up leaving Texas. Were you a cop in Texas, or was your first opportunity in PA?
The first opportunity was in Pennsylvania. I never had the opportunity in Texas.
Okay.
When I was with his father, it just wasn't there. He told me I wasn't good enough for law enforcement and I wasn't strong enough for law enforcement. So, it was a little setback, but like I said, my mindset wasn't even there. It wasn't there yet. So I'm glad I did wait, because you have to have the mindset to be a police officer. You have to go into this career with the mindset of, you're capable of handling any situation that you're going to come across, because within my 6 years, I have been in some crazy situations where you have to think fast and you have to make the correct decision on what you're doing.
No, you're not wrong there. You're absolutely not wrong. Your schedule right now, are you on like a day shift kind of thing, or what are you on?
So I didn't tell you this, but I'm actually a full-time deputy sheriff.
Okay.
And I'm a part-time police officer. So I dabble in both civil and criminal.
Good on you. So what's your schedule like? Like, are you like, is it daylight hours when you're working or not so much?
So I'm at the sheriff's from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. And then the police department, I am like 3 to 4 nights a week. Definitely Friday nights, definitely Saturdays, sometimes Tuesdays, sometimes Thursdays, or if I go in on Wednesday and Thursday, but
Do you come from a pretty large agency or smaller, like more rural?
So it's definitely rural.
Okay.
The police department is a smaller police department. My sheriff's office, however, is a bigger sheriff's office. That's why I don't share too much of the sheriff's office, because I'm like, I don't want people to find me there.
I totally understand. Yep. The social side of things is interesting. I think a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm very careful, and I've said this even before we talked today. I'm very careful with airing, who I work for. I just don't, because a lot of things I say, maybe the police department I work for maybe they don't agree with that. Or, I don't want it to be a representation of my police agency, and I don't want to get that mixed. And so I get that. I 100% do. And then like in your shoes, you've got a sizable following on social media. people can be a little bit sketchy. I don't know, Lisa, you probably run into some creeps from time to time. So I understand where you'd want to keep a little bit of that under wraps.
Oh, I mean, and not to get off subject, but at my
Yeah.
last sheriff's department, somebody actually spotted me in like a no name town. And I was on, I think we were doing warrants because it was like a team meetup at a gas station. And
Yeah.
he drove by and he was like, snacks. And I'm like, what? And he's like, aren't you snacks? And I'm like, no, because no one's ever
That
seen
ain't
me in
me.
uniform. And
Yeah.
he was like, oh, well, you look like her. And my partner was like, dude, she said it's not her. Like, you need to go. And he
Right.
was like, you need to be careful. And I'm like, I know.
Dude, there's
Yeah.
absolutely creeps out there. I've been hit up like totally different, right? But just especially in the day and age of everything being on social media, live streaming on YouTube or whatever else, you guys might be on a scene. Somebody pops up with a camera, sticks it in your face, and starts talking to you. We deal with that crap all the time. And when you work in a larger city like the metro area where I'm at, it's like constantly some drama where they're throwing you under the bus. I want your card. I want this. I want that. It is what it is, dude. I mean, it's part of the game, and I think we all get it. It doesn't matter where you're working. I mean, you might work in, like you're saying, more rural. You could be in a larger city. Flat out doesn't matter. A cop is a cop, a deputy, city cop, totally doesn't matter. We're all doing the same job. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you for your service as far as that goes. I appreciate it much.
Thank you for yours.
Of course, of course. Continuing, dude. Okay. So when did you get into this one? Again, this stood out to me a little bit. When did you start getting into this whole, the bodybuilding thing, getting ready to prep for your competition coming up? And believe me, if you're down, I'll have you share some of your social stuff so people can reach out that way. Obviously, I want them to be able to find you on social media if you're good with it. But
Oh, yeah.
what sparked your interest with that, with being able to compete, doing the fitness stuff? What started that for you?
So the fitness has been what the past 8 years since I had Austin, my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just it's kind of been like up and down. Like I went to my leanest, my smallest, and then I kind of like played around with macros, got a little bit bigger. But on this journey of this healthy lifestyle that I've been living, this
Yeah.
past December, I was like, what would it be like if I competed? Like, what could I do it? So I had a trainer at the time, and I'm like, hey, why don't I get into bodybuilding? And she's like, well, you're not really there yet. Like, maybe we'll think about it in a few months. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I dropped her.
Okay.
I was like, thank you for your time. Like, I appreciate
Right.
it. It's time to move on.
Sort of said you're
Um,
not really there yet, huh?
I'm not really there yet. And she was overseas too. So it was like an online trainer. And I'm just like, you know what?
Okay.
Like, it's kind of not working for me anymore. So I did a
Right.
little bit of research. I found a IFBB Pro coach,
Okay.
and basically what that means is she's been in the bodybuilding world. She's gone pro. She's got her pro card, and she's done everything from bikini division to bodybuilding division, which is awesome. So I did a lot of research on her, and I hired her, and we started prep in April.
In April.
So I started in April, and what are we're almost to August, almost, right? So I've been in prep for a few months now, and I started at 167, and I'm down to 141 as of today. So, and my goal weight for this whole bodybuilding thing is around like 130, 135. So when I went to her and I was like, hey, I've been in this lifestyle for, 7, 8 years, I was like, I
Yep.
want to compete. And, she talked to me kind of like how we talk, and she wanted to know my goals and where I was at and, what my plans were. And when I talked to her, she was like, you can do this. And even
Supportive, man.
today,
I
I got
love
an
it.
email from her, and she was like, "You probably could do this August show." She's like, "But I don't want to push it." So it's definitely been
So
a
are you going to do
journey.
August?
I don't know.
Or-
I might not do the August show. The plan the plan was to do the August show, but then I was like, I need
Right.
more time.
Okay.
So the show is actually October 7th.
October 7th, day before my birthday. I turned the big 40 the day after that. I'm 39 right now, dude. It flies by.
Oh,
Dude, you're going to kick ass by the time, okay, October 7th, by the time that rolls around. I mean, look at the gains you've already had. I mean, dude, you're what, 3 months into this?
Yeah.
Killing it.
Three months, April.
Yep. Dude, you're doing the work, but
yeah, July, 4 months in.
Damn, yeah, straight up. Well, the fact that you've made those kind of gains, I mean, obviously it's a joint effort, right? I mean, obviously you've got support along the way, but you're kicking ass in the gym. Is this like a 2-a-day thing or 1-a-day? Like, what are you doing?
So I basically wake up at 3:30, leave this house by 4, get to the gym by 5. I do an hour.
Wait, so 3:30 in the morning?
Yes.
3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And then I do an hour of cardio from 5 to 6.
Jesus Christ. So you said 6 to 7:15, and then that's when you lift?
Yep. And,
okay.
And then I get ready.
Fair enough.
Work.
And then I heard you say something. Yeah. Oh my God. Do you go to work straight from the gym?
I do. I get ready at the gym. I shower there. I get ready, and then I just go right to work and start my day.
All right. So diet wise, I heard you say something about macros, right? So macros is one of those things. It's like a science, dude. I need to get better at tracking that stuff clearly. But as far as that goes, what is your day to day? Like as far as your food consumption, are you eating salmon and rice like every 45 minutes? Like what are you doing?
So I did macros with my last trainer, my last online trainer, and
it
just really wasn't working out. So if anybody out there is doing macros, no hate whatsoever. It's good if you do it correctly. For me, she gave me my macros, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could fit 2 Oreos in my macros. So, evidently it just wasn't working out for me. The coach that I have now, what she does is she tweaks my meal plan every single week. Every Sunday we have a check-in. She looks at my pictures. She looks at, what's going on, and she'll tweak my meals. So I actually do eat a lot. It's all whole foods. Just kind of like some like ideas of what I eat. I do egg whites every morning, and the last meal of the day is egg whites. I eat steel cut oats. I do some tilapia, flank steak, salmon, balsami rice, and she just added asparagus. So chicken and broccoli too.
Oh my God.
Add that in there.
Okay. So very, very strict diet. You'll stick to this strict diet, obviously through competition time. Yes.
Oh yeah. She tells me what to eat. I prep it and I eat it all week.
Do you do that like HelloFresh stuff, or what do you do?
I go to the store every week and buy everything on my list, and usually I'll do it like if I get she'll send me an email on Sundays. If I get it early enough, I'll be able to get to the store and do it Sunday. If not, I just do it Monday night.
Okay.
So
that's reasonable. Well, prior to us talking today, I know that we chatted for a few minutes, and prior to us talking today, you were saying you were doing some of your meal prep and just getting everything ready in the meantime prior to our conversation. So you do an entire 7-day meal plan every week. That's basically how that works.
So what I'll do is I'll prep 3 days, and then in 3 days I'll prep the last 3 days of the week or 4 days. I try not to do too much, because then food can get gross, or so especially tilapia, and if I have salmon, I don't want it to be totally bad by the time I get to it.
Totally understand. No, I get it. So as far as your biggest obstacle, I think for a lot of people, for me with fitness, it's not going to the gym. It's not working out in the basement or wherever the hell you're doing it 5 days a week. That's not the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
But the hardest part for the majority of people is probably that staying disciplined while you're doing all this, right? So for me, it's not difficult. I can't speak to everybody, but the discipline factor, going to the gym 5 days a week or whatever, that's what I tend to do for an hour or whatever it happens to be. That's not the hard part. It's the diet aspect of it and making sure you're consuming the fluids appropriately, everything that you need to be doing in order to get to a competition ready body. That's got to be the hardest part.
Oh yeah, it's literally like she sends me my food plan, I make it and I eat it accordingly. But I mean, it's all whole foods. So when you think
Yep.
about it, like when I was doing the macros and I was like, oh yeah, I can fit these Oreos in, or I could fit this Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
like,
It's
like
freaking
it's
hard,
not
man.
it's not going to benefit you. Like the way that I'm eating now, like you can tell, like I'm starting to get abs, I'm starting to lean out. Like, of course the work in the gym is helping, but it's definitely
Yep.
the work that, you know, when they say like abs are built in the kitchen, they mean abs are built in the
Yep.
kitchen. It's what you're
Yep.
putting in your body.
Hell yeah. No, and again, it's inspiring to me. You were kind of putting some before and after photos on your social stuff, and I was just seeing just the leaps and bounds. I mean, how amazing you looked on the backside, and look currently, you're killing it, dude. And it's inspiring for me specifically. And I guarantee you, the majority of people, I don't know what kind of feedback. I can't speak to everybody as far as your followers and whatnot, but if anybody's talking shit, they're way out of line, dude, because you're flat out killing it. Just know that.
Nobody's really like giving me a hard time.
Good.
Of course you get like the guys and their comments. I just kind of ignore it, or I just like, I'm very polite and I'll say thank you, I appreciate it. But
Yep.
it's when the female bodybuilders that follow me, or like, they just pop in and out, if they leave me comments or like message
Yep.
me, I'm all about it, because any feedback, anything positive, even the negative stuff, like I take it all in, and like I take in, like what they're saying, and I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
thank you for that. I mean, obviously, like I'll listen to my coach, because like she is the main person here, but it's always nice to hear from a female bodybuilder, or even just a female that, I get a lot of messages from females and they're like, I wish I could do it. You look great. And I'm like, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
It's just you got to want to do it. And it's not easy, because for me, like if I said it was easy, I'd be lying to you. It's hard. Like I just got
Hell
back from
yeah.
vacation. I watched everybody eat cookies and ice cream and boardwalk fries, and
Yeah,
even
man.
my kid. And I'm just like, man, like
I'm
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 jealous of
guilty.
y'all.
Yep. No, I'm guilty, man. I don't eat 100% clean like that, but just having that discipline to stick to it, it's not freaking easy, but you're doing it and you're killing it. You should
No.
be damn proud of yourself. That's all I can say. Continuing a little bit on this. Okay. Dude, Lisa, you indicated a couple of things. And again, what you're comfortable with talking about, what you're not comfortable with talking about, you let me know. If there's anything that's like pointed, you don't want to discuss it, so be it. Not a big deal. As far as some of the things that you have had to overcome, dude, some of the things you've had to overcome along the way, it stood out to me. Okay. And when you and I briefly spoke, literally this entire podcast is all about personal excellence and all that jazz, right? And that's fine. That's a beautiful thing, right? Pursue your most excellent version of self. And that's what it's all about. I get it. But we all struggle. You're not going to win every single day. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. For you specifically, I ask this of a lot of guests. What is one particular incident or period of your life where you struggled with some things mightily, struggled against maybe some form of opposition, whether that was in human form, whether that was internally in your mind, whatever? What was a period of time where you had to overcome something and you flat out kicked its ass, powered through it, and did what you needed to do to come out the other side?
It was definitely leaving my ex. And I've been through a ton of things, but I think this one was the hardest, just because it was a very abusive relationship. And, of course, like I loved him, or thought I loved him. So, when you're in these relationships and, you know, obviously it's not love and it's abusive and it's not right. It was definitely hard to leave. When I left, I went back and I left again. And it's just, you know, the back and forth and the negative comments and the fighting and the arguing. I mean, it was hard. You know, I never wanted to have a child out of wedlock, and I had to deal with that, and I had to make the correct decision because you can't stay in an abusive relationship. You can't. It's not good for anybody. It was a super unhealthy time in my life. I turned to food, you know, depression, sleeping, you know, stuff like that. And it was definitely hard. I mean, it took me a while to get over it and move on. And once I did, I mean, I got my head right and I got my health right and mentally just feel better. I mean, but like, there's always ups and downs. There's always going to be ups and downs. Like, even during this prep, like, mentally, it is so hard some days that I'm just like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing it?
You mean telling me waking up at 3:30 in the morning is difficult?
That's not even the hard part.
Not even the hard part. It's the strict diet, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, you know, someone wants to, you know, take you on a date. Sorry, I can't go to dinner. Your girlfriends want to go out to lunch. Sorry, I can't go out to lunch. You know, like my girlfriend, she's like, let's go out. And I'm like, I don't drink.
So no cocktails like whatsoever?
No, there's no drinking involved.
Now, have you been one like previous to this whole thing? Would you go out and have like a Bud Light or something like that? I mean, what was your deal?
So before I started prep, I would go out with my girlfriend every now and again and have like, you know, I don't like beer, so I would drink like probably like Tito's or whatever fruity drinks, shots, whatever. And now it's just no alcohol.
No desire to do it.
No.
I'm proud of you, man. Good on you. Because it is. And then, okay, your day-to-day fitness routine, are you working out 7 days a week or are you doing just 5?
So it's 5 lifting days, 2 rest days.
Okay.
But with the rest days, she added on cardio. So it's like active cardio.
Yep.
Like active rest
And when you say like active cardio.
Active rest days.
So like an active rest day, are you on the treadmill or like what are you doing? Like rucksack, hiking 2 miles, or like what are we doing here?
I was running. My block here is, I live in the mountains, so my block is 3.5 miles of up and down hills. So I was doing that, and if I don't feel like running, I'll go to the gym and I'll get on the elliptical or I'll walk on the treadmill, something like that.
Kick ass. Good on you, dude. One thing that stood out to me when you were talking about the difficult time in your life and you were talking about some depression and things like that. What were some things that you ended up doing in order to overcome some of that depression? Because I think you actually went so far as to talk about you were contemplating like some serious shit, like harming yourself possibly or something like that. I know that there were some things that you had briefly discussed. I don't know, I mean, necessarily, but big picture, what did you do in order to overcome some of those obstacles?
So So actually that wasn't the time that I was like, you know, severely depressed. I went through a period when my parents were going through divorce, and, you know, as a young, you know, teenager, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, what is happening? And, you know, there was a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting. My dad was a little abusive, so I've, you know, had that, and it got a little hard, and, you know, I went into a very deep, dark place, and, you know, nobody wants to do that. I was definitely very young. So
Yeah.
to get out of it, I mean, I did go through therapy, and nothing like too crazy, but like, and I say this because I feel like cops who went through this or go through it now, whether it was prior or current,
Yep.
people are scared to talk about it, but
They are.
we're people, so I kind of want to touch on it. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to talk to somebody. It's
Yep.
okay to, if you're in that deep, dark depression state where you don't want to be here anymore, it's okay to seek help. Um,
Say it louder for the ones in back, man. I'm telling you, people need to hear that because it's so effective. And admitting that is so huge because for the longest time, especially in law enforcement, military, whatever, of which I was both, right? And doing that, everybody was always, oh, you're weak, or oh, I don't need that. That's not something I'm not about that. 100% wrong, dude, because if you deal with those things head on, little by little, it's not going to stack up because you get rid of them as they come up. And for me, it's been doing a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, ice baths, believe it or not, Wim Hof breathing, believe it or not, going and actually talking to a therapist or someone that you are able to, maybe you're bouncing ideas off of them. Maybe they're providing you with tools to overcome some things that you hadn't even thought of. So I am so glad that you touched on that because it was severely lacking in any first responder profession and the military. And I think it's come on huge in the last several years. I can speak to our department specifically. There is a wellness program. There's a peer support program. I don't know what you guys have going on, back east, but they push it big. And I'm so happy that they do. It helps immensely.
right. And,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not that girl anymore and I'm not there anymore. And that's totally okay. I mean, even with like the depression state that I went with my ex, I think I turned to the gym at that point. I was like, my health and my fitness, like that's my therapy. Like when I started working out, that was that was getting my mind off of everything. I was like, I can do this. Like I don't need him. Like I can lose the weight. Like I can do anything. I can be a police officer. Like, you're not going to sit here and badmouth me and tell me that I'm too weak and that I can't do it because I'm going to do it. And I did.
No, you absolutely overcame it. And again, 6 years into it, ultimately, what would you like to do in the profession long term? Is there any dreams of like, do you want to be chief of police someday? You want to join the SWAT team? Like ultimately, what are your aspirations? What do you want to do?
Honestly, I wanted to go into a bigger department so badly, and I almost got in. Almost.
Okay.
And of course they have different divisions and, they had so many resources and I was like, man, this is going to be great. Like, maybe one day I'll be a detective. Maybe one day I'll be on, the Warren division or, there was so many different ideas. I did not get into the department, that I wanted to get into. So I am going to stay in the area that I'm in right now. Completely content with what I'm doing, but maybe one day, possibilities, maybe to be a detective.
Love it. I moved over to an investigative assignment like 5-6 months ago. I had been involved in training, Lisa, the majority of my career. So became a cop in 2004. It was in Missoula, Montana. I ended up lateraling to where I'm at now in 2007. And so I've got a lot of time into the profession. I wasn't even quite 21 years old when I was hired. I was a freaking baby. And I was that kid. Like I'd sit in front of the television and I'm like sitting with my legs crossed and like eating graham crackers and milk. And my mom's like, "Oh, Cody, what do you want to watch?" And I'm like, "How about Cops? Let's put Cops on." I'm all about it. That was me. And just seeing what they did. And
Yeah.
my parents are like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do when you get older?" "Well, I want to be a policeman." And I literally was able to accomplish that. Thank God. Right out of the military, was able to slide into that role. And it was challenging in the sense I didn't realize what I was in store for. Honestly, I mean, it was, and you've heard this, right? It's so cliche. You have a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. And you do. I mean, you come into law enforcement and you kind of have these ideas. Yeah, I'm going to put on the blue uniform and I'm going to chase bad guys and I'm going to change the world, right? And then you go to your first, dead baby call, or you go to like just a domestic that blows your mind. Like, how does one person treat another person like that? And then you're in front of a group and you're legitimately trying to make a difference. You're legitimately trying to help on a particular call. And maybe one person on the scene, they just don't like cops. So they're up in your face. You get spit on, motherfucked up and down. And so it changes you to a certain degree. And it's interesting. You evolve along the way because you don't get me wrong, you still do it for the public. I don't mean you don't, but you tend to start doing it more for those that are in the profession with you, and they keep you coming back and you have that camaraderie. And then you find those opportunities to truly step in and make a difference to a family or to a subject you're dealing with. And you see in their eyes, I can actually do something to help these folks. And then there's other people that no matter what you do, they'll keep going back to that person or they'll keep making those same mistakes. And there's nothing you can do. But when you find those people that you truly can make a difference for, you bust your ass and do whatever you can to make that happen. Kids, I've got a massive soft spot for kids. The domestic violence calls, hate them. And there's certain calls, dude, 19 years into it, Lisa, I shit you not, even today, I might remember a particular name of a subject that I might have dealt with, and I still might get a little emotional on that, and I'm not shy to say that. This career changes you, and you truly do have that front row seat to the greatest show on earth. And it is a calling 100%. If you come into this job and you're doing it for the right reasons, which I can see from everything you say, this was 100% a calling for you. And I don't mean you may not be a believer in God or whatever. I don't push that on people. It's not what I'm doing. But there's a higher calling that's pushing you in that direction, regardless. Whatever God you pray to, or it's the universe, whatever, some higher calling was pushing you into that. Thank God you picked it up because you're kicking ass at it now. Thank you for that.
Oh, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, it took me a while to get here, but once I did, it's like, you know how they always say, like, it's flight or fight. During the academy, I had this like totally different, like I'm going to help people. Like, this is going to be great. I feel like the academy teaches you like the basics, but they don't really tell you like how it is. Like, it's all field training. It's like when you get out there and you start dealing with people, like you said, like, domestics or, dealing with kids, dealing with, you might get that same call, every week. It's just, it's definitely, you learn quick. You definitely learn quick. And you're right. It is
you 100%.
You have the front road to the show. It can be intense too sometimes.
So, dude, what's your shirt? What do you got going on there? I see you have an American flag.
What is this? A Soldier Solution shirt? I kind of just threw on the first t-shirt I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, we match. I'm actually pretty impressed there. We both have the black.
Yeah. It's a TikToker started this company.
Okay.
Don't ask me his name.
One thing, Lisa, do you want to know something else that stood out to me? I noticed you rep Bucked Up.
I do.
Bucked Up Energy.
I was an ambassador for them. And then I reached out to the CEO and I was like, hey, just a wild chance. Do you do like sponsoring athletes? And he got back to me within 5 hours and he was like, absolutely. And I was like, absolutely, like you're gonna sponsor me, or absolutely like you just sponsor people? And he's like, no, we'll sponsor you. And you know, of course I gave him like a huge spiel, like, hey, I've been an ambassador, I'm in law enforcement, it's my first competition. And you know, I was just trying to like, you know, sell myself, like, hey, like how can I really get this? And when he told me yes, I was just like, I was like, no way. Like, no way Bucked Up is going to sponsor me, but they did.
Yep. Dude, that is so sick, man. Bucked Up has been amazing. So I do the affiliate stuff with them and the products are great, like the proteins, the energies, all that stuff. So I do that affiliate stuff with them. So when I saw on your social link that you too did that and now they're sponsoring you, they're that much cooler. So no, I can get down with that. That's awesome.
The CEO, Ryan, is absolutely like amazing. He's so nice. They paid for my competition fees. I got some cool gear, some cool stuff. So, I mean, and their products, like you said, like I take their pre-workout, you know, their proteins and their vitamins, and it's great.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying that either.
Well,
I actually like it.
No, same.
Yeah.
Same here. No, I absolutely love the stuff. I mean, dude, telling folks about it, that's great, but it does enhance things, right? I mean, the older I get, I mean, here I am, I'm almost 40. And believe me, the need for supplements is real. So like the joints and all that stuff, like you start feeling it a little bit more. I've got like 20 plus years of working out. It takes a toll on your body. It definitely does. So you definitely feel it in your joints, and taking those things like Bucked Up. Yeah, dude, I get it. This isn't like it's not a shameless plug or whatever, but it is a shameless plug. If you have an opportunity, check it out, buckedup.com, do your thing, right? But their shit is good. I'm not just saying that. And I wouldn't be saying that if it wasn't. So trust me there. And obviously they're the real deal if they're actually supporting you.
Oh yeah.
No, that's cool as hell.
They're like, what's up with their like pre-workout? And I'm like, well, what are you using it for? I'm like, there are different levels of caffeine. There's different levels of like products. I'm like, if you want to pump, if you want to burn, if you like, there's so many different types of pre-workouts that they have for, and I use them for different days. I'm like, oh, it's leg day. Like we're going to go hard. I'll use like Woke AF. Or like if it's like a shoulder day, then I'll just use regular Bucked Up. I mean, it just depends on how you're feeling, how you wake up. Like, do you want less caffeine? Do you want more caffeine? They have such a full range of
got all the above.
Workouts. It's insane. It's like you could literally go from 100 milligrams of caffeine all the way up to 450 milligrams of caffeine, depending on what you need that day.
I'm pretty sure my heart would explode
not a
on
lot
that.
Of people have that.
No, hell no.
What was that? No.
Not at all. No, I'm a huge fan. Okay. So Lisa, in wrapping this up, a couple little things that I want to touch on real quick. And again, I don't want to be disrespectful of your time. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Ultimately, here's the deal. If people want to hit you up on social media or whatever else, what would be the best avenue for them to get a hold of you? How would they find you on Facebook or Instagram or whatever else?
Instagram, it is Lisa Michelle D, and that's DEE at the end. I'm a verified account, so there's lots of fake accounts. I never ask for money and no weird links. So
badass.
Will find me.
No doubt. No doubt. I'll share you on my socials as well. If you got any photos that you want me to like throw on there, or a photo of you that you want me to share as like a guest, happy to do it. anything that you need from me, if you ever find yourself out in the Mile High area in Colorado, don't hesitate. You know someone out here. That's all I can say. So I'd also like to get out there and, okay, what is your exercise of choice before we finish this? Like, what is your exercise? If they were to say, yo, rep out with this, what is it for Lisa?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Back day is my favorite day. So,
Okay.
Some rows, some back
Okay.
rows.
Good old barbell row.
Cables.
Okay. Well, at some point, if you ever journey out to Colorado, let's freaking make it happen. We'll get together. We'll hit up the gym for an hour or so. You can embarrass me. We'll have a good time with it.
We'll have to
It'll be a really good time. Oh, yes. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Dude, we'll record it. We'll watch it go down. I'm not too proud. I'm all about it. So you let me know. And also, between now and October 7th, best of luck to you. You'll kick ass. There's not one doubt in my mind that you'll kick ass for that. You'll do the best you possibly can. Sounds like you're dealing with somebody right now that's kind of helping you out through this whole process every step of the way. And that makes all the difference in the world. So I'm glad you found someone.
Oh yeah. And if you guys follow me on social media, I'll be sharing, as I've been sharing this entire journey, and I'm going to keep going till the end. So all the way up until show day.
Can't wait, dude. Yes, I will definitely be keeping tabs on you. So dude, I'm proud of what you got going on. First off, you're a sister in blue. So that's what I love. But, and that's something I don't know that people understand, the camaraderie that we have in law enforcement, first responders. We truly do stick together.
Oh yeah.
When you guys hurt, when you guys suffer, I feel every bit of that. When one of us, is lost or whatever else, I feel every bit of that. When you accomplish something that you've set your mind to, I feel every bit of that too. So thank you for sticking to it, busting your ass, pursuing the goals you want to pursue. If there's anything you need from me in the future, you know where to find me. Bearded Monkey Tactical on Instagram. And obviously you got my contact info. Folks, she's the real deal. Again, the way she comes across right here, this is the Lisa that I've come to know. She's a legit human being, beautiful human being, inside and out. I wish nothing but the best for you, honest to God. And I think you said Austin was your son's name?
Austin, yeah.
Austin as well, even though he's a Cowboys fan. I'm not going to be a hater. So
I know.
Again, do not hesitate, guys. I appreciate you tuning into this episode. This is, again, Colorado's own Personal Excellence Podcast, the Bearded Monkey Podcast. And we will catch you guys again so soon. God bless and take care.
Thank you.